You know what? That actually is not okay. Much like the film we're talking about is not okay. It's not okay. That's the name of the film. Not okay. Look, I was actually very excited for this film. I am a closeted Zoe Deutsch fan. Maybe not even closeted at this point. She's just really cool. I love the vibe she gives off. It's kind of like, Valley Girl meets manic depressive, and I think that's a really fun balance. And Dylan O'Brien's a cool guy. I like seeing what he can do. I like the people involved in this. I really do. Then I saw the trailer, and then I'm like, oh yeah, there's the whole movie. Yeah, that's the whole movie. And then I watched the actual film, and I gotta say, I really did not like what this was presenting to the conversation. And that's the thing about this film. You have to be able to experience it with a certain mindset that it's dark humor and so twisted and silly, and look how intense and weird it is. Like, we're shining this really fun light and this retrospective and this idea on this concept of terrorism and social media. And if you can get behind that, I guess you could say there is something being said in this film. But if I'm being honest, this really gave me the same vibes as Don't Look Up. And Don't Look Up is a film I didn't talk about on this channel. I fucking hate Don't Look Up. It is just so one-sided in its argument, and that's what this film is too. And look, I have a lot of thoughts on this film, and I think I have a lot of thoughts just in general on the social media and influencer culture. I'm of a lot of minds of it. Of the mind of yes, these aren't normal people. People who sit in front of a camera and talk about things like this, or do unboxing, or reaction videos, or any of that stuff, tutorials and all that shit, that's not a normal thing to do. That is a recent concept that was invented because nowadays anybody can be successful doing whatever you do online and turning that into your platform and your brand. I don't like that. But I'm also there is a level of insincerity to it that I know a lot of people can pick up on. Your favorite vlogger or influencer is being paid to do the thing they're doing, so it's their job. You can distance yourself from it in that way, and you have the ability to be oh yeah, this is what I'm looking at. I get that. Young people can't. If you are a preteen or a child, you don't understand that, and that's where the problem comes in. But if you're an adult and you're man, that vlogger is living the lifestyle I want, I'm so jealous of them. It's fake. They're being paid to do it. You could do it too. It's not hard to do that. It's kind of hard, but again, crazy people do it. You can tell it's not real. And I also have that thing is there's this really weird message going around in a lot of celebrities and people in my personal life, and I just think in the world in general, social media is toxic and it destroys everything. Yeah, because you're only looking at the parts that are just the hate and the problematic experiences, because that is what is bolstered up to be the presence. There's a lot of positive stuff you can get from social media and these platforms that invoke this sense of influencer ideas. There's a lot of good stuff there. Bigger communities, bigger outlets to get your voice heard. A lot of positive stuff. When you only focus on the negative, that's what's going to affect you. And also, you can just turn it off. I hate people, because I know people in my real life who are I don't use social media, it's all toxic and it's just corrupts your brain. It doesn't, because you clearly don't know how to use it right, and you don't know what to look for except for the stuff that's going to make you upset. So when you are trying to make a story about that concept where it's look how toxic influencers are and how much of a brand everybody has to be and how social media dilutes your brain and turns it into this concept that can ruin your life, there is something to be said there. Does that concept inherently feel like a small budgeted Netflix film starring your favorite TikTok star? Yeah, it does. That feels very much like something you'd see with a younger crowd. But when you're getting Zoe Deutsch leading it and Dylan O'Brien, two people that are in their late 20s, it suddenly becomes a little more mature and realistic in that setting, as if it was just Addison Rae. And there's nothing against any of those people. I'm just saying, taking that idea and giving it to an older generation, there is more realism to that. Because it's how this could hurt you. You also know the importance of it. It's interesting. So when you're doing a movie that's a takedown of the influencer and social media construct, you have to do it right. Because if it becomes a one-sided argument, it becomes really stale and annoying. Sadly, Not Okay is very one-sided and very annoying. The movie literally opens up with a warning saying you're going to see a unlikable woman leading the film. And I don't care, okay? If that's what you need to do to tell people, like, it's funny, do it. People need that shit. Because, you know, some people are going to be in here like, she's supposed to be the lead. Why is she such an asshole? That's the point. She's a terrible person who grew up in a generation that told her she needs to be prettier and be seen by the world. And that's an interesting concept. But the problem is she doesn't learn the lesson in the end to an extent. It's more of a personal lesson that she learns where now the effects of what she did hit her. That is when she starts to be like, oh man, I really screwed the pooch on this one. So if you haven't seen the trailer, here's the basic premise. You have Danny Sanders, this girl who works at, I guess, like a gossip column magazine or like a website or something. She's sad, she's unloved, she's unhappy, she's unfulfilled in her life. And she sees this cute boy named Dylan O'Brien, and she's just like, I want to get with him, but he likes influencers. He's an Instagram star. I'm going to fake being this important figure online, take a fake trip to Paris, and at the time she posts those fake pictures of herself in Paris, there's a terrorist attack. Everybody thinks she's a survivor, and she kind of exploits that into this weird idea, kind of starting a movement with this other woman she meets and how their stories collide, and eventually she has to tell the truth. And it's just like, there's something there. There is something there. You don't do anything with it, though. The starter's like, she doesn't learn the lesson. That's fine, okay? That's accurate. Young people aren't always going to learn the lesson, even when it's just posted in front of their faces. They're not always going to learn the lesson. I can get behind that. But if you're teasing this and you're stating this is a dark comedy, why not put some jokes in there? And I'm not talking jokes like, oh, look how weird Dylan O'Brien talks, where you can't understand, like why is he putting on this fake accent, this like fake affectation with the way he talks and speaks? Give me some real jokes, you know? Actually say something about the issue. There's like one actual joke where it's like, man, you're just bombing online. Speaking of bombings, that's where you were. I'm like, that's something of a joke. The rest of it is just like, how dark can we make the situation where this woman can't dig herself out of this hole she's made? And it's not funny. It's not engaging either. There's a lot of shows and a lot of stories that have a problematic lead, an unlikable person like just headlining the show, and you can get behind their actions because there is something motivated by that. But when your lead is just like a woman who made all of her own problems and she's just trying to boink this one boy, you don't root for her, and you are actively hoping she fails. And maybe that's the point, where it's like this woman built her own problems and we want to see her fail. Maybe that's the point. But I don't know. It is well acted. Everybody is firing on all cylinders in terms of the acting. The story is creative, if not boring. And I don't think the writing is terrible, but it definitely leans into some really bad moments. I just think the overall message gets diluted just because it wants to either not take it seriously or take it too seriously. And it can't find the right balance between either of them. Truth be told, if you made this a full-on comedy, like not just like a dark satirical take on social media and the influencer model, because there are better shows and better stories that do that kind of thing. Better character beats that work for like making fun of an influencer than this movie that's clearly about a woman pretending to be one. And that's really weird to me. Really weird at all. So you can't root for the lead. You're not watching like a piece of shit. Like there is some good acting, good directing, good costume work in here, and it plays with this idea in a fascinating enough way where you're not bored. You are going to cringe. You are going to be like, oh, this is a stupid thing. This isn't realistic in what it's trying to say. But since it's trying to build itself as a satire, I guess you can accept that it's not entirely accurate. All I'm going to say is, why does everything have to be like this diluted, broken look at social media? There's a lot of healthy outlets on social media and healthy people who are influencers who are spreading positivity. It's really weird to me. I don't think I like what this show was doing, but I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I just can't believe somebody said, nope, this is right, and didn't say like, it's a comedy, maybe we should put more jokes in it, or, maybe have more arguments being made against the person or for the concept of what we're saying. It's very basic and uninteresting in that aspect, but Again, maybe it's because I'm just a huge fan of Zoe Deutsch that I'm like, yeah, I'll go. I think there's something there. If it was anybody else, I could see myself being like, who gives a shit? But Dylan O'Brien's pretty funny. There is something to be said about this movie, but it's not a lot. And it's really just not okay. It's just nothing. So Not Okay, the latest picture from Searchlight, I'm going to give a 5 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.